Hey everybody, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it may be for you. This is Perry Barnhill with the Fearless Acupuncturist. Go to slides, please. First and foremost, I want to give a big thanks to the American Acupuncture Council for sponsoring this show on HIPAA and cybersecurity. So let's jump into this. We are going to talk about the three cybersecurity threats that are outlined in the healthcare industry, which is all of us who have our practices and things we can do to best protect ourselves. So let me just kind of go over a few things right now and tell you why we teach this HIPAA. We understand what it's like to have a practice. We understand what it's like to have patients. We understand what it's like to take care of employees and all the functions of the day-to-day offices. But we also understand what it's like to be concerned and a lot of times scared about compliance, especially HIPAA. HIPAA can be a very, very scary thing. So one, as healthcare providers, we can relate with the providers out there, but two, also as people who have certifications and compliance, and specifically in the area of HIPAA, we know what it's like to look through both sets of lenses. What I mean by that is one is the providers, and two, on the other side of things, the experts who deal with HIPAA. So let's do this. A lot of people, a lot of providers out there, not really sure where they stand as far as are they at risk for not being HIPAA compliant? And if so, what are the consequences? So we've come up with this little quiz. Let me skip to this slide here. You can scan the QR code here, or you can go to the website. And what this is it's a short quiz, has some questions in there. It's not hard and it's fast to do. It'll give you an idea where you stand in the world of HIPAA. One thing about HIPAA is we don't want to be on the wrong side of HIPAA because the penalties and the fines involved and the stress if something happens, Lord forbid an audit or anything like that, or a breach, we don't want to be on the failing end of this scale. So I'll give you an example. Obviously, F, like with any case, is failure. You're in big trouble. D is not a good thing. But HIPAA is so sort of technical, at least if you don't have the right things going on, that if you're not pushing that A area, you're definitely at risk for fines and penalties. You don't have to be. It doesn't have to be that easy. That's why we are here to help you. So make sure you take the quiz, check it out. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. We're more than happy to help you. Okay, so let's get into this here. Let's talk about insider, accidental, or malicious data loss. Real quick here from the Department of Health and Human Services, I'll read it and we'll just kind of go over it. Quote, an insider threat in the healthcare sector is potentially a person within a healthcare organization or a contractor who has access to assets or inside information concerning the organization's security practices, data, and computer system. So what does that mean? An insider threat is like somebody within our own offices, or as it says, a contractor referred to as a business associate. A business associate, for example, could be anybody, third party outside of your office that has access to your patient's health information. So if you're using electronic health records or software that you do your patient notes in, that's a business associate. And by law, you have to have a business associate agreement on file with them to make sure they're keeping the things secure like they're supposed to. So insider threats define who, what, and why. Okay, so people in the organization who have legitimate access to your computer systems and network. That's basically our employees. It's other acupuncturists in your office, anybody or your office manager, anybody inside your office who has access, legitimate access to your computer is someone who potentially could be a threat if they don't know the things that they're doing, or if they nefariously try to sell that information, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. And in fact, it came up right here. Negligence or malice causes these insiders to compromise your patient enterprise data. So sometimes we can have bad actors even within our own organizations or our own offices. So we need to be on top of these things and certain things that we need to be aware of to prevent this from happening. There's repercussions for patients if we lose data, if the data gets lost, if it gets stolen by a cybersecurity crook, or if our office manager sells it on the dark web. So the repercussions of these things are not good. We have to protect this. So let's go over a few things here. The first one is the accidental insider threat. This is an honest mistake. Perhaps somebody in your office is tricked by a phishing email, and phishing emails, we've talked about this before in some of the previous videos that we've done. So make sure you go back and watch those where we specifically talk about phishing. They're the links that go out that look like they're something legitimate, but they're not. But they look so close to being legitimate, someone in the office clicks on them. Sometimes the acupuncturists click on them. You yourself, because you're not aware of certain things. And then when that happens, the bad actors got you. they'll attack your computers. They can get an inside of it, and they can steal that protected health information. Again, what is the protected health information? Anything. I mean, just think of it this way: anything that you have with your patients in it on it is PHI. Even their name alone is considered protected health information. So we have to be very careful there. The next thing is the intentional insider threats. These are where there's malicious loss or threat to the organization. Basically, what this is somebody on the inside, someone that may work for you or is in your office, purposely and deliberately steals that information and then sells it on the arm or on the dark web, for example, so they can seek a monetary gain. Is generally why they do these things. You have to be very aware of this. The most prevalent threats, the 3 insider threats, and here they are. Careless or negligent employees, 56% of the incidences. Here's the thing. Careless, yeah, maybe. Negligence, maybe. But negligence is sort of purposely being ignoring things that you should know. Let me rephrase that a little bit. Most of the things that we see when there's breaches is because the staff has not been properly trained to see what it is they're clicking on in this sort of context here. They click on the wrong thing and it gets you in big trouble, right? Because there's a breach and someone sold all this information. This is where the training is super, super important. You have to train the staff. So, for example, if you had a breach, you have to report this to the Office of Civil Rights, basically the government. And here's what they're going to do. They're going to say, what did you do in order to help prevent these breaches? And obviously, the goal would be to have training, which we all provide these things in the HIPAA manual and the programs that we offer. The training that you need to say, hey, listen, this happened, but we did this, 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 and this. If you can show the things that you're doing to prevent these things from happening, the fines, the penalties might not be anything. But if you can't, maybe there'll be something. We don't know what they'll be. There's sort of up for a little bit of interpretation, at least to some degree, right? But if you're not doing any of those things, that's when you get yourself in big trouble. If you're only doing a couple of things, still not good. You need to be doing most of the things in order to prevent these things from happening. So who's behind these insider threats? Well, it could be somebody in your office, like I said. Maybe it's your office manager. They steal it and they sell the PHI to the dark web or some bad actors. Maybe it's a maintenance technician that cuts the network server wires, starts a fire, sabotaging operations. That could happen. That generally doesn't happen, but it's possible. An intern or staff member unknowingly installs malware. This happens all the time. This is probably one of the more common ones because it's inadvertent. They didn't do it on purpose. They just didn't know what they were clicking probably because there wasn't the appropriate training there. The next one here, an associate of yours downloads patient contact information, emails it to their personal account, and they sell it or they use it to start their own business. They can't do these things. There's parameters and rules that we have to follow. Or what about your front desk? The next one here, they assess your client information or access client information. What does that mean? What's your patient information? And then they sell it, like I've said a couple times before. These things happen. We have to make sure we protect it so it doesn't happen in your office. So how could it happen? And I've kind of talked about this before. I just want to reiterate here. 61% of these data breaches involve an insider, and they're primarily unintentional, caused by negligence. So here's what that means. They weren't trained properly. They didn't mean to do it, but it happened. So you have to train everybody on all of this. Lack of awareness of security policies and training. This is where the OCR, the Office of Civil Rights, which is basically the police of HIPAA, this is where they get really, really upset about things. So if something happens, okay, it happened. So what did you do and what training did you do in order to help prevent these things from happening? Too many people don't have near enough of the security training that they need to have. The next one here, they leave a laptop or a mobile device somewhere maybe they shouldn't have, and it got stolen. So the thing with all of this is that if you take your laptop out of the office or you take a cell phone and it happens to contain PHI, which is a whole different topic for another day, and it gets stolen or something happens and someone can take that patient information off of there, did you know you're supposed to have policies in place and procedures in writing in your manual? We have these things. We have examples of these that says, hey, listen, I'm going to take my office my laptop out of the office. And then when I do this, these are the things I'm going to have in place so that I can safely do it. Has to be in your manual. And they have to be dealt with and addressed. The last one here, and again, sometimes you can have an employee that gets upset with you for whatever reason, or maybe it's nefarious, and they have a grievance and they take stuff. Or here's the other thing too. An employee leaves. Maybe you're not doing the things you're supposed to as good as you should in the world of compliance or HIPAA here in this context, and then report you. So there's a lot of ways that the government, the OCR, the HIPAA police can get their eyes on us, that we got to make sure we're doing the things we're supposed to. So here's a little quiz. Insider threats are people who have A, legitimate access to the computer systems and networks, B, have relatives working in the same department, C, people who are in their probationary period, or none of the above. Of course, it's A. Insider threats of people in your office. They have legitimate access to the computer systems and the networks in our offices. So we have to protect those. So one of the phrases that I think is the best you can say to anybody that works in your office who has access to your PHI is, if they see something, make sure they say something to you. Tell them to follow their instinct. If it doesn't look right, tell them to report it to you. Or maybe you need to report it to your security person, or maybe you need to call your computer IT person who's knows things maybe a little bit better than you do. Be aware of these social engineering techniques. Social engineering techniques, things that confuse people into clicking on things that they shouldn't, and things that get you in trouble. And this big one here, you got to participate in regular security training. These are all things that we offer. Okay, here's another quick quiz. Data loss and data security is important, but there's little I can do as an individual. True or false? Of course, the answer is false. It's like if you see something, you need to say something. We are, and our staff members and our associates are the first line of defense. And because they handle PHI, which is the sensitive data we're referring to here, on a daily basis, they have to be aware of unusual activity or questionable emails. So have them follow their instincts. Like, seriously, have a conversation with them and say, if you see something weird or funky, make sure you tell me so we can look at it. Don't click on it. Don't take any chances. That's where we get ourselves in hot water. So insider threats, in summary here, happen in every organization. Sometimes it's an accident, and sometimes it's malicious in nature. Ask questions. Make sure you train your staff. These threats can literally cost millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, and potentially cause your office to shut down. That's true. It can cost a ton of money. Above and beyond that, money is one thing and it's terrible, but above and beyond that, it's the stress, the loss of sleep at night. We talk to people frequently who have these things happen, and it's so important that you have something in place that if it happens, you can show the government, look, I did this, and this, and the cost, the risk, the penalties, and the fines are massively reduced, if anything. So last thing here, see something, say something. If you're a victim or you made an honest mistake, reach out. We're here to help you. We have all this training, like we said. We talk about these things in the program. So here's some next steps for you. If you got questions, a couple of things you can do here. If you want to schedule a demo, I'm more than happy to go over a program with you, show you what it is. Most providers, I find, just have questions about what it is they're actually supposed to do. And once you understand what it is you're supposed to do, you're like, oh, okay. And then you get going with those things. Help eliminate some of that fear. Scan the QR code here. You can go to the demo at go.fearlessprovider.com/demo. If you want to just get started, you can go to our website at fearlessacupuncturist.com, or you can contact me at Dr. Perry at betterhippoablueprint.com. In the meantime, everybody, I want you all to have an amazing day. Thank you for joining the program here, and take care, and we'll talk to you next time.